Today I'm here with Pamela Kawah of Leap Year, and I'm so excited because she's designing a few pieces for me, and she has agreed to a very impromptu interview. I have to find out, what is your inspiration?
So I draw inspiration from all places, but basically lifestyle, travel, art. I do really just like to look into art, mostly on social media, but you do get quite some good content out there. Yeah, that's where I really draw my inspiration from.
So I was very surprised to find out that you're an economist by trade.
Yes, I am.
And yet you do your own sketches, you do your own designs. So you are truly both left and right brained.
You could say that, yes. You could say that. I mean, the numbers side is quite intense, it's quite challenging, it's quite fast-paced. And then the fashion side is where I let loose, relax, just basically gives me balance to really just get to do and express in all ways. Yeah.
So how did you get into fashion? Were you doodling at university level, or did it happen once you launched into your career?
I'd already started work and I was going through a rough patch. And one day I just sat there and said, let me learn how to sketch for fashion. So that was in 2012, I think. So I just started sketching, got some books online and downloaded them and just learned how to, put images together. And as I started to create on paper, I figured, why not explore the possibility of actually bringing these to life? And really, pretty much that's how it started. So looking around, trying to find people to work with, because I didn't really have the time to learn how to do the garment construction myself. So I decided to teach myself everything else. So since then, I've been trying to work with different craftsmen and seamsters and seamstresses to bring all of this to life.
So the fact that your mind went to fashion and not something like photography, right? That leads me to believe that you've always been interested in fashion.
It was actually more of illustration. I've always been able to draw and, put things on paper. And then the fashion thing kind of jumped out at me, but I do have an interest in photography as well.
Now, I sat here and I watched you come up with these designs in your head based on what I told you that I liked about my body. And then I also showed you some pictures that I had accumulated online. Yeah. And then you literally just came up with how you were going to sketch and how it was going to work out.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
It really just comes from, it's a process of listening to the customer. If you're going to make bespoke clothing, you have to really think about your customer. Actually, even if it's just ready to wear, if you're designing a collection or a piece, you have to think about the user. Will they be comfortable? What accessories will work for them? What parts of their body are they comfortable with? So I want you to walk away feeling like you got something that is unique to you and will work for you.
I really like the fact that you drew me into the process and you were asking me questions along the way. How do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? And then I was able to tell you, like, this, I really don't like wearing bras. So can we design something that allows me to feel supported, but at the same time, I can still be free? And I like how you definitely want your client to own the process as well.
Yes. Absolutely, because as a woman, you want to wear something that you're 100% comfortable in. So for us, it's about style, comfort, and functionality. So I don't want to make you something that you're going to walk away and feel insecure wearing it or feel uncomfortable wearing it. So I want you to own the process as well. I want you to love your piece and keep wearing it, and let it be part of who you are, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of fashion here in Kampala. We talked about Nairobi.
Yes.
And Nairobi is great, but I feel like as far as East Africa is concerned, Kampala is the capital of East African fashion.
Yes.
So there were a lot of people that I could have interviewed, but one of the things that stuck out to me about your line was the quality.
Oh, thank you.
The
thank you very
finishing.
much. Yeah.
And how unique it is. I'm wearing one of your pieces now. It stands out amongst all the rest, and there is a lot of competition.
Yes. We are a small operation, and in as much as we want to be out there and be bigger and do great things, we have to take time and be intentional about how we create our pieces. So we have to put a lot of attention to the detail, because we're trying to meet a certain standard. We're not just looking at Kampala, we're looking at the rest of the world. We want the world to know that very beautiful things, very well-made things can come out of Kampala and Africa.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you travel a lot and you use art as your inspiration.
Yes.
Do you have a particular muse?
Not really. Not really. I don't get a lot of time to really delve. So it's usually singular pieces or singular pieces that will stick out for me. But not that I can say I have this particular muse. But I do find there's a lot of people of color that are doing quite amazing things.
Now, I know that you went to school in London. Where else have you traveled throughout the world?
Right. I've been to Portugal. I've been to Spain. I've been to Greece. I've been to Scotland. We call it a country. UK. In Africa, I've been to Kenya. I've been to South Africa, Tunisia. I lose track.
So many.
India. It was India. Yeah. The ones I can remember. America. A few times. Yeah. Barbados.
Was that your roommate?
Yes. Yes. Hi, Charlotte.
You mentioned your roommate in college terms. You wanted to know that.
Yes, she did. Yeah. So I have been to Barbados for crop over. That was amazing. Yes. And I would like to travel even a lot more, go back to some of these places, immerse myself into some culture, because before we was traveling just to see the place. Now, as you get older, you get more time, get more experience, you want to build on that, different exposure to different cultures. Yeah.
I know for me, I always draw a lot of inspiration by observing how women throughout the world adorn themselves.
Yeah.
So by traveling, you just get to feed your palate and your imagination more and more.
Yeah, I think that happened for me when I was in India, because they dress differently. The materials they use, yes, we see it on TV, but when you're looking at it up front, it's just different from what we used to here. And I couldn't believe how well they work with very light materials, how they wear them in the different outfits and the different colors, and they're really bold. They're really, really bold. And I found that very inspiring.
Yes.
It was very, very inspiring. And there was some similarities to some of the clothes that we wear here, because it is true that we did draw out, so some of our traditional attire was inspired by some aspects of Asian culture. Yes, so it was some similarities there in the way we rap and the way they rap.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is true. That is something that I noticed.
Yeah.
Do you think that you have certain challenges as an independent designer?
Yes, absolutely. There is quite several challenges as an independent designer. The biggest challenge we're facing is production, sustaining production, and trying to identify people who can produce pieces to the quality that we require to a certain level or to an international standard even. So whereas we're creating on paper, putting it out there is a slower process because you have very few people to work with, so you can't really sustain the numbers you would like to put out there. Of course, price points are always a challenge because it's a small business. Your costs are quite high, So, and then you have to compete with imported clothes that, price quite low. So it's about really getting to a place where our customers and our audience understand the value of what's going into making these clothes.
There is a lot of fast fashion in
Yes.
Kampala.
Yes.
Mass produced, made in China. And then you also have a very strong secondhand market.
Yes.
The secondhand market is off the chain.
Yeah.
So for somebody who's coming from the West who likes vintage shopping or thrift shopping, it's like heaven here.
Yes.
But I can definitely understand how that would be a challenge for someone who's making something quality and also bespoke.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned production. Everywhere I turn, there's a tailor.
Mm.
Is the problem with the quality of the tailors versus the quantity?
It is the quality. It is quality, it is consistency. It's about getting to a place where you have rapport with some of these tailors and getting them to understand your work process and to understand exactly what they're creating and what it means for what they're creating. Because yes, they do make beautiful pieces. I won't knock that. Some of them are really skilled, but it's that consistency in production where you're available, you're reliable. We do tend to have some issues with that. And I think it comes with experience, I guess, for some of them. Over time, they do get better. Yeah.
Talk to me about some of your triumphs. Now, I know I went to Nairobi to shoot another designer, and I walked into a high-end mall, and I saw your pieces there. That's a yay.
Yay! That's the designer studio, and it's in the Two Rivers Mall in Nairobi. And I was just happened upon this gem I think in October last year. And I met with the owner, and I love what they're doing over there, trying to put African fashion on the market. She's got some Ethiopian designers in there, of course Kenyan designers in there, she's got us. So she's doing an amazing job, and it was a really great achievement for us to find someone to help us push our products and partner with us in broadening our market share in Nairobi. So outside of that, we're now stocking at the Design Hub in Kampala. We have a rack there for people that need to see our stuff. Of course, we're at Bold in Kampala. At Acacia, we've been there for years, and that's a great relationship that we really value. And we continue to look into other markets, expanding the brand beyond the continent, and we continue to look for people to partner with. Yeah.
Wonderful. I know I saw this piece at the Design Hub, and then I love Bold, so I also noticed you had your things at Bold as well. Do you participate in any fashion shows?
No, not yet. We feel that we'll concentrate more in getting our pieces out of the workshop into the different stockists for now. We do create collections, but we're not really showing them on the runway yet. I don't believe we have the capacity to do so yet. But I think eventually we will consider doing a runway show too. I mean, I do like what's being done at Kampala Fashion Week. There's amazing work I did see in Kampala Fashion Week. Yeah, so one day we hope to participate in that as well.
Definitely, you will definitely stand out for sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hope so.
So talk to me a little bit about your training. Now, you said, do you have a master's in mathematics?
Yes, I do.
Oh my God. Okay, so we are complete opposites in that area. I did not get beyond algebra. Like that's where, was it algebra or geometry? My mind was like, I wanted to burn my book. And here you are with a master's in mathematics and you're an economist.
Yes.
Okay, so we know you're training there. Do you have any formal training in regards to fashion?
No, I do not have any formal training. I've put more time into learning the business of fashion, and hopefully maybe in the nearby future I can actually start on garment construction. I do know how to sew. It's just really the pattern drafting side of things that I really want to get into. But I think I'm more interested in going into textiles than anything, printing fabrics, weaving fabrics. So I'm already looking into that and hoping that it's something I can get started on pretty soon.
Yes. Oh my gosh. We have this conversation all the time about what is African fashion.
Yeah.
And you hear that a lot, right? In America, Black American artists are always questioned, well, is this really Black art? Of course, if you're African and you're creating it, it's African fashion.
It has to be, yes.
But the fabrics that we typically associate with Africa often aren't even produced here.
Yeah, exactly.
So I see that when I walk into your boutique, if I don't have fabric, you already have it here for me. I don't have to go anywhere. So
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
But if you were to get into textile design, oh my word.
Yes.
That's definitely taking you to another level.
Absolutely. So I want to diversify the business. We would maintain Leap Year as a brand, but we would actually go into designing textiles and printing on textiles. Currently just doing feasibility studies on how sustainable it would be, what are the gaps in the market. It wouldn't be a large operation per se, but it's something that gives the local designers and artists options.
Yes.
You know, because we do actually we produce very good fabrics locally, like very good quality cotton. You can get some decent grade cotton, but it's the patterns and the prints on the cotton are quite limited. So if you just get rolls and printing them, and then of course weaving as well is something we're definitely interested in doing. There's a few people that are weaving some beautiful pieces of fabric in Kampala, but we would want to get into that market as well and see how far we take it.
Is weaving indigenous to the culture?
No, was more bark clothes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but weaving is a technique that's been brought into the country. Yeah.
And what about batiks and printing? Is that something that's
Yes.
indigenous as well?
Yes, we do print on fabric. We have always printed on fabrics, and yeah, tie-dye mostly, I think. Tie-dye, and you've seen those images with the animals. Yes, those are made within the region. Yeah.
So what is next for you? We talked about the textiles, and possibly moving ahead and doing fashion shows. I think a lot of designers get lost in the fashion shows.
Exactly.
The complaint is that they're really not revenue generating.
Yeah, they're not.
And at that point, it's like, okay, what's the point? The textiles definitely moving forward and also expanding into international markets as well. Do you have any other plans for yourself, branching off from Leap Year?
No, I've got my full-time job that I'm still at, and I love it there, and it's something I want to sustain that side of me for as long as I possibly can, because like I mentioned before, it gives me balance. I have toyed with the idea of doing this full-time, and I realized I probably wouldn't last long in it. So I do need the other side, and it also helps me express all the knowledge that I've accumulated over the years. I need to put that somewhere. But only on this side, like I mentioned, put some time aside to get into garment construction, to get into fashion education as well. That's something I'm quite passionate about. And for now, the little we could do to contribute to that is run the internship program. So we're currently taking applications for the internship program that lasts 3 months. And we just basically teach you the business of fashion, with a few, hands-on skills here and there. Give you a feel of what it would be like to run a business like this, or something even better, and then maybe learn from you as well. So it's an exchange of knowledge and information, and just to sort of build towards maybe eventually setting up some sort of school or learning institution, and maybe collaborate with some stakeholders, to see how that can be funded and made operational.
I don't know where you're gonna find the time to do all of this.
Right.
When is that gonna happen? But it looks to me like you know how to delegate.
Yeah.
And it looks to me like you'll definitely figure it out. I definitely want to be a part of the fashion merchandising piece. I mean,
absolutely.
You've got the math, you've got the science there, but there's also so much more. So when you launch that project, please look me up.
I would absolutely be in touch, because I need people like you. We really need people like you. Yeah.
We talked about you going into textiles, right? Where do you currently source from?
So there is markets down in downtown Kampala, huge markets that bring in a lot of Vakitengi. So that's where we really source from. There is an area called Chiembe, which is just a series of buildings where you get like the rolls of fabric, regular fabrics, crepes, polyesters, chiffons, or we can imagine laces, accessories, buttons, everything. And then we also we're now trying to work with locally produced fabrics from a company called Nightil. So that will be part of our new collection, and we're really excited about that because it's really just about showing people what you can do with our fabric besides just making uniforms. So it's actually very nice fabric, it's very good quality, and I wish we had better prints for it, and hence, why we're trying to just, even with what's available, you can do some amazing stuff with it.
Yes. You were talking about getting the fabric from downtown. Do you know where they source those fabrics from?
So it's a combination. There's West Africa, there's some from Congo, and then some are from China.
What was interesting to me is how I brought in this fabric and I was really proud of it, and I was like, please work with it, and you in a very nice way said it was not quality, it's uncomfortable, and you didn't want to work with it.
Yeah.
I guess being in this business, you kind of learned. Did you have to learn the hard way?
Yes, we had to, where you create numerous pieces and you can't do anything with them because the fabric is just not wearable, it's just not functional, it's not comfortable, and customers reject it. But it's taught us a lot about quality control right from the beginning, from when you get the fabric right into when you create something from it. Yeah.
You do work with other types of fabrics besides Kitenge, but this tends to be the main feature. What made you gravitate towards Kitenge?
Initially, it was just, I like the prints and the patterns. They're more diverse than regular fabric. So when you're trying to make a piece that's a little bit more interesting, then it helps to have Kitenge. But even then, we're quite particular about the quality of the Kitenge that we use, and of course, the prints. Sometimes the prints inspire collections, and other times it can get difficult when you have the collection and you just can't find the fabric. Like it's just nothing speaks to you, and you're just stuck. But yeah, that's when we do use various fabrics. Yes.
Do you ever have a problem with using a particular pattern for your line, let's say a spring line, and then you can't find that pattern anymore?
Kitenge runs out. It just does. You go down there, you try to buy as many pieces as you can, and then you sell out, and you go back and it's not there anymore. And that's what's kind of motivated us to think about creating our own prints, because you have control over the quantities, so you can use as much of it as you want.
Yes.
Yeah. It gives you control over your fabric sources. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Pamela.
Thank you for having me.
Us.
Oh, thank you for coming to talk to us. Yes, it's been amazing.
It's been a pleasure. And then now that I found out that we're both house heads, we're definitely going to have to jack the house together.
Looking forward to that.
Yes.
Definitely looking forward to that.